Hello and good afternoon to all. Welcome to Network Gems. So here we are going to discuss the most frequent asked questions interview, and even these questions might be asked. This is very vital question from the interview point of view, and we are going to discuss the most important questions in cybersecurity. Okay, so here we are going to discuss our cybersecurity questions, most important questions that could be asked. Its possibility is very higher because we have selected most important questions, okay, from this curriculum. So, okay, let's start. So, here these questions we are going to discuss. Basically, you can see this is what we are going to understand, what we are going to discuss. First question, like, what is footprinting? Okay, what is footprinting? Very important. Okay. That's it. Then what is photo scanning? The interviewer may ask to check your understanding. One of the voices are, one of the tags are Trojan horses. Okay. So all these are the important questions. Okay. This is how you can. So what is sniffing? Name some sniffing tool. So all these questions, okay, may be asked by your interviewer. Okay. What is different between specific connect scan and SYN scan? We'll see brief to all one by one. Then explain privilege escalation. What is zero-day vulnerability? What is data exfiltration? What's the difference between encryption and hashing? What are the salted hashes? Okay. What is HIPAA? Basically define HIPAA. Okay. And what's the motto behind HIPAA? What is sandboxing? What is ENS, cache poisoning? Okay. What are the stages of cyber kill chain? Okay, this is cyber kill chain. We'll discuss its stages to understand the mindset of attackers, how to prevent phishing attack, how you can prevent phishing attack. Okay, why is cyber kill chain important for incident response? Okay, what is threat hunting? What do you understand by risk, vulnerability, and threat in a network? What's the basic differences among them, and what is brute forcing and some of your types, and how often should you perform patch management? So this question is very hard. This question has a very hard chances to to be asked by the reviewer. Okay, so let's jump to our first question. That is footprinting. What is footprinting? Okay, so footprinting means here footprinting is the process of gathering information about a target, such as IP addresses, domain details, and network infrastructure. Okay, so footprinting is nothing but just a gathering process. Okay, this is very important about your target. Obviously, there would be one target. Okay, so you will try to collect all information. You cannot go without any plan. Okay, first you have to gather the information about your target, first thing. So this first stage footprinting is this. Okay, so how you can gather the information, this is the process called footprinting. Okay, first you will try to understand what IP address of your target, what is domain details. Then, like, let's assume, okay, your target is micro.com. Let's keep it realistic. So, microsoft.com. Okay. So, microsoft.com. Okay. So, first you will try to get its IP, what its IP. Okay. Then done. Then you'll understand its domain details, etc. If your IP is there, so what is domain and all. Okay. Like when this is registered, when this domain got registered. Okay. Network infrastructure to understand in what CIDR it is, how many hosts are there in that subnet. So all this information can be gathered in the process of footprinting. Okay. So now let's discuss second thing is what is port scanning. Port scanning is a technique used to identify open ports, simple open ports and service available on a host. So it is used to identify which port is open and which service is on. Okay. So hackers use this port scanning to find information that can be helpful to exploit vulnerabilities, obviously. So admin use port scanning to scan the port to verify the security policies of that network, obviously. Some of the common port scanning techniques are, okay, so these are hint for you to understand what are these types of port scanning is. Ping scan, TCP half open, TCP connect, UDP, and still scanning. Okay, this would be asked. Like, can you just name some of the port scanning techniques? These are some techniques. So here, Trojan horse. Okay, Trojan horse is obviously one of the malicious program there. So what is this? They may ask to check your virus knowledge. So it is a Trojan horse is a malicious program, okay, disguised as legitimate software to gain unauthorized access to a system. It is disguised as a legitimate software, so you may download it, but that would be malicious. So by this, they may gain your access of your system. Okay, this is about Trojan horse. What is sniffing and some sniffing tool? Can you name it? They may ask. So you'll answer it yes, sir. Sniffing is the process of capturing and analyzing network traffic to extract sensitive information. Some of its tools are this. Like sniffing is what? Sniffing is just a process when you capture and analyze network traffic. Okay. So this is your target. Okay. Assume your target search something on Google. Okay. So you can capture this traffic in your tool that may be Wireshark, TCP dump, and EtherCap. Okay, these are some process that you can use to analyze it network traffic. Okay, okay. So this is process to capture and analyze the network traffic to extract obviously sensitive information. Some of the tools are obviously Wireshark, TCP dump, and EtherCap. Okay, so now the another question is what is the difference between TCP connect scan and SYN scan? TCP current scan, it completes the full TCP three-way handshake, easily detected and locked. Okay, this can be easily detected and locked because this is TCP current scan. It is a full TCP three-way handshake. Okay, it completes. But when we talk about SYN scan, so when you do this scan, it sends only SYN packets and does not complete the handshake, so making it more still there, that you can use it to steal the data. Okay, so this can be more hiding nature. Okay, that means you only send SYN packet, does not complete fully handshake. Okay, first is SYN, okay, then SYN ACK, then ACK. But here only SYN packet will be sent. Okay, so basically it does not complete the handshake, which make it still there. Okay, so let's go to our next question. What is privilege escalation? Escalation. What do you understand by privilege escalation? Privilege escalation. Basically, it is nothing just a process of gaining higher access right than initial authorized, either through misconfiguration or software vulnerabilities. Simple, when let's assume you have hacked any system. Okay, we'll understand in our program. So once you have gained the access of this, but you have achieved this as a user, simple any user. Okay, so you are just you have attacked it as a user access, but you want to gain its whole root access. Okay, root means admin access, because now you are just hacked in using this system as a user, because this system could have a lot of user. Okay, Ram, Sham, John, any name. Okay, these are users. So you have taken one of the user. Okay, but here you want to gain all the access of that system as a root user, as an administrator user. Okay, so to privilege this, to take the privilege by escalating is called privilege escalation. Obviously, you will misconfigure something and you'll firstly try to leverage software vulnerabilities. Okay, so this is it and this. So now let's move to our next topic is what is a 0-day vulnerabilities? Okay, a 0-day vulnerability is a flaw unknown to the vendor and without an available patch, making it highly dangerous. Okay, that means a vulnerability that is still not known to the owner of that software, okay, or website. Assume you have website and you don't know about that uh, error or that vulnerability, but it is known by hacker. Okay, so if you don't know, so how you fixed it? How you generate a patch for it if you don't have any knowledge about that? So it's the same way, 0-day vulnerability is previously unknown security flaw in software. Obviously, it's unknown in software, hardware, or firmware that has no available patch. Obviously, when you don't have any knowledge that is there any vulnerability existing in your system or software or hardware, how will you fix it? How will you make it available patch when you don't have the prior knowledge about it? Okay, so here at no available patch or fixed at the time to discover or exploit it. Okay, so when this will be exploiting, this will be discovering by other attacker, so it won't be available, the available patch. Okay, so why this is called 0-day? Obviously, the vendor has 0-day to prepare and release a patch, okay, before vulnerability can be abused. So before the vulnerability can be abused, the vendor does not have any knowledge about this. So how will you prepare and release it? Okay, this is the same way, because vendor has no days to prepare and release a patch against the vulnerability before the vulnerability can be abused. Okay, this is the thing. So let's move to our next question. What is data exfiltration? Okay, it's so easy, not that hard, but they may ask to check your knowledge. Okay, so data exfiltration. Data exfiltration is unauthorized transfer of data from a compromised system to a attacker control location. Let's assume this is the attacker, okay, attacker's arena or attacker control location. This is the target where attacker hacked us. Okay, so attacker has hacked or tagged the system. So attacker wants to get want to transfer all its data to its control environment. This is called data exfiltration. Exfiltration. Okay, this is thing. Now let's talk about what is the difference between encryption and hashing. This is the most asked question they ask to check your basic knowledge. Okay, of cryptographic and all. So here, encryption and hashing obviously are both cryptographic technique. Okay, both are cryptographic technique, but they serve different purposes and work in fundamentally different ways. Okay, fundamentally different ways. So encryption is a reversible process. Point to be noted is it is reversible process, which is used to protect data confidentiality. When plain text is converted into cipher text using an encryption algorithm and key. Authorized parties can decrypt cipher text back to original plain text using the appropriate key, obviously. And encryption is commonly used to protect data in transit and at rest. Transit means while transferring, fetching, or accessing the data. It means transit. And at rest when it is stored or database, such as HTTPS communication or encrypted text. Okay. This some example is AES, obviously for symmetric, and RSA, that is asymmetric. Understand what is this symmetric, asymmetric? But encryption is just reversible process just used to protect data confidential. It is used to encrypt, like it is used to encrypt data into ciphertext. Okay. So hashing is a one way. It's a reversible one-way process used to ensure data integrity and securely stored sensitive information like password. Basically, it is most used in password. Okay. So it converts input data into a fixed length hash value. Okay. The original data cannot be reconstructed from the hash. Hashing is commonly combined with salting. Okay, we'll understand what is salt. The next question. Salting to prevent brute forcing attack and rainbow table attack. Okay. Some example is MD5, SHA, SHA-3, SHA-256, and bcrypt. Okay. These are the hashing technique which ensures the data to be in integrity and secured. Okay. So this is one way and irreversible process. So now let's talk about the salted hashes. Salt, what is salt? Salt is a random data. Okay. So now this hashing would be combined with salting. So this is salting. Okay. Then this is called salted hashes. Okay. When this is combined with. So what is this? Salt is a random data when a properly protected password system receives a new password. Okay. So it creates a hash value of that password. Simple. It will create a hash value of that password, a random salt value, and then combined value is stored in the. Okay. So here this is system. So when you have typed any password or saved key, okay, saved in your system. So your system will generate a hash value of that password. Password is, let's say 123, but random it will generate that something hash value. Okay. Then a random salt value, something that will combine with this. Okay. And this will be stored into your system back. Okay. So this helps to defend against dictionary attack and known hash attack. So whenever attacker wants to perform dictionary attack or brute forcing, so they will have a lot of problems. Okay, so they won't be able to crack that easily. Okay, now what is HIPAA? HIPAA is, and what's its key objective, they may ask. Okay, so HIPAA means Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. It is HIPAA. It is a US federal law enacted in 1996 to protect sensitive patient health information. Okay, you cannot, let's have example. See, this is a hospital. This is hospital. Okay, this is hospital. So, so let's assume a patient. Let's see, patient P1. Okay, P1 come and he will provide some information. Obviously, what's his age, gender, and background, uh, medical history, and its current status. What's the disease he is suffering from? What's the information about it? Health. Okay, will be there in that form which is submitted to here, or they may store in their digital database. So here, to protect this patient's information, this is HIPAA. You cannot leak that information because it's very personal, protective, or sensitive patient information. You cannot leak. Okay. So to protect this patient's information, this was introduced. Okay. So here, key objective. It obviously ensures confidentiality, integrity, and availability. You can say CIA trad is also there. Okay. That means it will be confidentiality, it is will be private or encrypted, obviously. It must be integrated. Integrated means integrity means no one would be able to hack or tamper your data. Assume you have disease something, uh, liver infection, but attacker cannot read is at kidney infection, cannot tamper as kidney infection. Okay, so these data cannot be tampered. That is integrity. Availability means whenever you require, whenever customer, not customer, whenever patient requires the data to see its history and all, medical expenses and all, they may easily, that should be easily available data for them at 24 into 7. Okay, this comes under protected health information. Okay, these are key objectives to establish privacy and security standard for healthcare data. Okay, to ensure security standards should be there, establish privacy. Okay, to prevent unauthorized access or disclosure of patient information, this was produced. Okay, promote accountability and compliance. Compliance means to comply with government policies and all. Okay, and accountability in healthcare organization to make it accountable. This sector comply with the government policies to ensure privacy and security of the patient's information. Okay, so this is the thing about EPA and its objectives. Okay, let's talk about sandboxing. Sandboxing is nothing. It executes suspicious files in an isolated environment to observe malicious behavior safely. Simple, sandboxing executes suspicious files in an isolated environment to observe malicious behavior safely. So, what would be the effect of that malicious program or file they test in an isolated environment? Okay, to see its outcomes and all, see its effect, see its behavior, how it behaves after uh, taking over that device, taking over that file systems. Okay, this is the thing of sandboxing. Okay, to perform specious file executed into an isolated environment. Okay, so what is DNS cache poisoning? You can understand DNS cache. Okay, so one second, let me share my okay, so we have we okay DNS cache poisoning. So DNS cache poisoning injects malicious IP addresses into a DNS resolver cache, which redirects the user to malicious sites. Okay, simply the DNS information is saved in cache for the further references to less the latency rate to fetch the data. Okay, of that website. So cache is used there. So here cache poisoning is that means this poisoning injects malicious IP address of that hacker, something that that malicious IP address would be injected in your DNS resolver cache. So whenever you request for something, so obviously it will first direct it to your cache. Okay. So here cache, this would be there would be an illegal or malicious IP address. So here then your system will redirect it with this to any malicious website. Okay. This is how it happens. Okay. So now let's talk about the stages of cyber kill chain. So what's the cyber kill chain? Cyber kill chain is a security framework developed by Lockheed Martin that describes the stages of cyber attack from planning to execution. Okay, like how the attacker is thinking. Okay, from planning to execution. So it helps the organization to understand, detect, and stop attack at early stages. So all these are divided into the stages how attackers thinks to attack. First, reconnaissance. Reconnaissance means getting information about a target. First stage is reconnaissance. This is a cyber kill chain stages. First stage is reconnaissance. So first target information gathering. First thing is information gathering. Okay. Second is weaponization. That means creating malicious payload, malware plus exploit. Okay. Third one is sending payload, then delivery. That means when you have created an exploit, so that has to be delivered. Okay. Next is exploitation. Okay, triggering the vulnerability. Now installation. Now that installing malware on the target system, obviously. Now that would be into command and control, establishing remote control. An attacker, after installing malware into system, attacker will have the control and access so they can command that anything. Okay, regard on behalf of system, attacker will have the remote access or remote control. Actions are objective. Then last is data theft, lateral movement, and damage. Okay. Now, how to prevent phishing? Simple is don't enter sensitive information in the web pages that you do not trust. Do not put any sensitive information in the web pages that looks something fishy. Okay. Verify the site's security, whether it is verified or not. Is it HTTP or HTTPS? Okay. Use firewalls, obviously. Use antivirus software that has internet security. Use anti-phishing toolbar. Okay. This is the thing. Now let's talk about why cyber kill chain important for incident response. So It helps incident responder to identify the attacker's current stage, understand what action have already occurred, what to come, and apply targeted containment and remediation strategies. Okay, simple cyber kill chain important is to identify in which stage attacker is in and understand what action he has already taken and what to come the next stage. So they have to apply against that thing. Then they will take some remedy strategies. What is threat hunting? Threat hunting is a proactive approach to identify hidden or ad- advanced threats that bypass traditional security. Threat hunting means it's a proactive approach to identify hidden and advanced threats. That's why it's threat hunting to identify the threats that bypass traditional security controls. Okay, this is the technique. Now, difference between risk, vulnerability, and threat in work. Okay. So first is threat. Someone with the potential to harm a system or an organization that is threat. Threat could be anything. Let's assume the employee. Employee can also be threat. Okay, let's assume employee which has been social engineered by someone, manipulated by someone. So he or she is most potential to harm a system or organization. Okay, that is threat. Okay. Now vulnerability is weakness in a system. Vulnerability means simple thing, weakness in a system that can be exploited by a potential hacker. Okay. Now risk. Risk means potential for loss or damage when threat exploits a vulnerability. Okay. Then threat plus vulnerability is called risk. Okay. That means simple potential loss or damage of something that these can be leaked, so these can uh, risk your reputation and all. Okay. So this is when threat exploits a vulnerability. This is the thing. Now, how often should you perform patch management? Okay. So how often you should perform patch management? Simple. Patch management should be done as soon as it is released. Okay. Patch management means kind of update of version and all. So for Windows, once the patch is released, it should be applied to all the machines, not later than 1 month. Okay. Some goes for network devices. Patch it as soon as it is released. Okay, like same goes for network devices. Like when patch is available, just upgrade your or patch it as soon as released, and proper patch menu should be followed. Okay. Last is what is brute forcing and some of its types. What is brute forcing? Brute forcing is a attack technique where an attacker systematically tries all possible combinations of password, keys, or credential until the correct one is found. Simple. There are multiple hit and run, like hit and miss, hit and miss, hit and miss until it is found. Okay. It will keep on trying until the possible combination is found. This is brute force. Attacker will keep on trying multiple combinations. What are its types? First is simple brute force. Tries all possible combination. That is simple brute force. Okay. Now, dictionary attack means attacker uses a predefined list of common password. Let's do common password 1234, admin 123, okay, 128. So these are some common predefined list that has some common passwords combination. Okay. So we'll just run with this file uh, list with list of common password. Now, credential stuffing. So it uses leaked username password pairs. Okay. That means credential stuffing means attacker uses leaked username and password pairs. So we'll try to use the username and password pairs which has been leaked. Okay. So means what? Let's assume your Gmail password obviously human tendencies, they try to keep simple, so they try to keep same all the password for all the platform. Let's assume your Facebook password is 1299. Okay, so it is more probably that you must have kept this password for your Gmail also, or your Instagram also. Okay, so this can be used by user for the further attack in your Instagram or in your Gmail. Okay, so he will try this combination, try in Gmail with this leaked data, and this data is leaked. Okay, that username and password of Facebook is leaked. So he will try to use this combination with other platforms. Okay, this is potential stuffing. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the session. Okay, so yeah, that's it from our end. Okay, we hope you'll practice well enough to crack the interview and subscribe our channel Networkers Champ, and like and share as much as you can. Okay, thank you.